Hi, I'm Warren Sprouse. This is the Bible Forum. You're on with me every Sunday night from 8 until 10 p.m. Eastern. We look at life through a biblical lens. Tonight is July 10th, 2016. I want to talk to you about the Megashift. What's a Megashift? Well, Megashift is an attempt to deconstruct our old belief system and reconstruct a new set of beliefs, bringing them into line, in this case, with what's called the latter rain agenda. Now, much of the book is about our role, about how it's our responsibility, how we have been given a new freedom to act, a new power to perform the tasks that are required, a new understanding of the gospel, a new lifestyle of victory to be an overcomer, all to become an integral part of the end time picture that prepares the earth for the return of Christ. If we fail to mega shift ourselves, according to this author in this book, then Jesus will not come. About 10 years or so ago, I told you about something called the shift. The shift was not necessarily a religious movement. It was more of a secular movement. Think Oprah Winfrey or something like that. The announcement was met with yawns and animated criticism, largely for bringing a subject to the table that hardly anybody understood. I had a radio show in Wilmington, North Carolina. I did it on Sunday night from 8 to 11, and I shared this information. I was invited on a weekday talk radio program at the same station to do the same thing, and in both cases it was sort of like, I don't even know what you're talking about, and what does that have to do with me? The host wasn't even nice, let alone gracious, about my wonderful revelation. Well, now the shift has come. We've already made the shift. You have. And we're moving now toward a mega shift. And some of us still don't get it. The shift was a grassroots movement to move society away from absolutes, things like God and the Bible, into a more social and spiritual world where everyone could be in touch with God as they understand Him, or her, or it. Proponents spoke of a transcending sense of lightness and knowledge that would simply take over the world in a burst of spiritual enlightenment. It was really the effort to rid ourselves of objective truth and abandon ourselves to the energies of the universe. Did it happen? Largely, yes. Look around. Today, everybody's a Christian if they want to be. And if not, they have their own brand of religion. And they have the Eastern meditative type techniques, which they brought into the church. They put them in the bars. They got them everywhere. It's taking over the world. Churches today feature yoga and other so-called exercise techniques, which are rooted overtly in Eastern religious practices. You use these techniques to relax and to be more at peace. What you're doing in that process is abandoning your sense of responsibility, abandoning your reliance upon external spiritual belief. You're encouraged to relax and to worship the gods and goddesses of the ancient Eastern world through meditation. You're meditating upon their names or upon their energies or their ideas. And when it's over, you feel better. Your pulse rate lowers. Your body is benefited. You're more at peace. And what are you told? You're told that you can achieve the same result by simply sitting quietly for 20 minutes a day. We're told that we don't need to be chanting, having a mantra, seeking to channel evil spirits not always evil spirits, but something outside of self. We're told that we're seeking godly benefit, but we're seeking the godly benefit from an ungodly source. And the Bible calls that idolatry, and Christians are doing it. That's part and parcel of what the shift was all about. To move away from your anchors, your solid platforms, and get into this wishy-washy, everything's okay, I'm okay, you're okay kind of world. And we've done it. I haven't done it. Maybe you haven't done it, but the world has. Now we got a megashift. The megashift is explained and encouraged by none other than a man who portrays himself a Christian. His name is James Rutz. He's now deceased. But he begins this book by luring the reader into an experience of miracles, which is something with a strong emotional hook to set the stage, for a shift in the way we think, opening us up to a series of new concepts for us to think about. Rutz makes the point that Christianity is overlooked as the fastest growing faith in the world because most surveys look at traditional Protestant denominations and or the Roman Catholic Church, all the while ignoring Christian believers who do not have part in either. He says, quote, "The growing core of Christianity crosses theological lines and includes 707 million born-again people who are increasing by 8% a year. So fast is this group growing," he says, "that under current trends, according to the author, the entire world will be composed of such believers by 2032. Now, the choice of terminology is instructive. He uses the term shift. What is it? It's a fundamental shift away from objective reality to spiritism. Brought to us by a man who says he's a Christian, marketed to people who claim to be Christians and are in churches, but it is pure mysticism. Mysticism is cousin to all things occultic. And if you think of things that are occultic, you must think demonic. And of course, the charismatic, the new apostolic, the new age, the mystical groups are embracing all of this since it meets their preconceived ideas about spirituality. What it doesn't meet, however, is a burden of proof. The newsflash here is your experience is not the measure of truth. The apostles didn't deal in their personal experiences. Everything they said, everything they did was rooted in biblical prophecy. They said as much. They were concerned that people understand that they were operating according to the Spirit of God in harmony with revealed truth. They didn't create a new religion and delve into mysticism. But all of this is attractive, especially to those who do not have the Spirit of God. It is a simple human manifestation of what the uninformed and uninitiated think is spirituality. In the second chapter of the book, Mr. Rutz introduces us to concepts most of us have never seen nor heard about. Things like identificational repentance and spiritual mapping and rabbit teams, on-site prayer, a strong emphasis on fasting that you might power up, and an entirely different leadership concept in the church. All of these are part and parcel of what is called the latter rain teachings, the idea that miraculous things will take place just prior to Jesus' arrival, even as they did the first time. They draw on a passage of Scripture that speaks of the former and the latter rain, which farmers relied upon in Israel, and they apply it to spiritual things. Of course, the Bible never does that. But these folks are not too conversant with the Bible, except in terms of phrases and illustrations, which they're able then to use to prove their points. Megashift is building on the idea of a shift from objective to subjective. And the Megashift just multiplies it. You may hear more about this as time goes on. If you do, you need to run, not walk, to the nearest exit. It's not Bible.